Hey guys, thank you for joining another episode of the Candy Show. I'm your host, Candy. Guys, guess what? We have some special guests in the building. We actually have the original members of the Candy Internet Talk Show, Fly Girl TW and DJ Silver Fox. So, guys, just stay tuned. I hope you enjoy. We got a lot of catching up to do, and we'll see what's up next. But I will say this: while we were doing the fashion shows, we were given the opportunity to be guests on this is in 2008, guys, on a local podcast here when podcast was just now starting to come. I don't even think it I'm gonna tell you, I don't even think there probably was any.
There probably wasn't, and they really should. Really should name it after us.
Yeah, we're the pioneers. So
Pioneers of it.
the internet radio show too. So yeah. Y'all welcome.
Yes.
Down in Leonard's basement.
Yes, and he had his own thing going on. He invited us just to be guests, and was like, what, y'all need to do your own show.
Right.
And
it was a great show. I mean, even with the guests that we had and the conversations that they're bringing, it reminds me of still some of your guests on your shows that are still bringing that type of conversation, because some of the questions that you ask them, they have to like, oh, okay, so you really want me to answer this? So
that was a lot of fun. I think that when I see on social media, there's still men and women like, well, why can't men and women get along? Why can't they have conversations? And I just tap
TW Fly Girl. Wait a minute. Them questions that you put on Facebook.
I'm just trying to change the conversation. I'm just trying to challenge people like I always have. But yeah, I that's which is great, Candy. So that's part of it for me, because I think internally I've always known that's who I was someone who wanted to help others and be passionate about it. But really, I think that helped me just feel a lot more confident in who I was, and just to accept that, you know what, I'm outspoken, I'm bold, I'm brash, and I have no holds barred, and that's just who I am. That's part of who I am. But I'm also who I can be, soft and cuddly and all that too. But I just decided, like, through that, you figure out who you are as a woman, and I'm just all of that in the bag. I'm all of that. And so
I think it's very important for you to be real. Okay, and so people have no questions about who you are.
Right. I always say I'm authentic. Okay, so take me as I am, and that's that.
The thing that I liked about us when we were doing the Candy Show is that we represent 3 different age brackets.
Sure, that's right.
3 different personalities.
Hold on, wait a minute. 2 different age brackets. We're just a couple years from me. Look here. I know you probably want to stay in your 30s for a long time, but we're just 5 years apart. So maybe 2. We gonna go 2. Okay. All right. So 2 age brackets.
But we
still look good.
That was my neediness in the Candy production. Like I said, I was suffering empty nest syndrome that had been involved in every aspect of my son's life. So yes, I'm proud, 68, and I know I'm looking darn good.
Yeah, that's right. DJ Silver Fox.
And I have to say that with my sons, they are still calling mom for counsel, whatever it is. I'm on the phone every day.
I get that too. Yeah.
So
and I'm a grandmother now, so that definitely has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, and 2008, 2009, that's clearly umpteen years ago. And a lot has changed. A lot
A
has changed.
lot has changed.
Yeah.
And
A lot
I
has
think
changed.
that what, again, I'm taking back to the Candy Show and how we started the Candy Show, the Candy Internet Talk Show. Once again, we were invited as guests to be on another podcast at the time.
Mhm.
And then the opportunity came where, hey, why don't you guys do your own show? And to this day, I still can't stand how I talk. I can't hear. You know how there's certain things about yourself. I could never, because I sound whiny and nasally. So, but I learned to, get over that and just talk. But I look at what's going on now in 2020, and it's like, oh my gosh, like you said earlier, Taya, Fly Girl TW, pioneers.
Yeah.
We were,
Well, I think we really were. Yeah, we
Mhm.
were.
Mhm.
Mhm.
and it was like, once we started, it was just like the dopest idea, and it was fun. We had some
It
great
was
guests,
fun.
great
did.
topics.
Yeah.
And I think also it was, we did it in spite of, and I'll say in spite of, because we were not at a big radio station. We're in someone's basement, and he had,
Yeah.
he built that up himself. And it's not like we were
Mhm.
going inside somewhere, someone was bringing us coffee or anything. It was just, it was homegrown.
Yeah.
And probably if it were not homegrown, it wouldn't have been able to be as real as it was. So
Absolutely.
once again, I'll say to whoever's listening, you're welcome.
You stole our idea.
Yeah.
We didn't copyright it. We should have sold the rights.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you just, while we were in someone's basement, which changed like 3 or 4 times while we were still doing it.
Yeah.
It was the thing about being real. We could be real. Even though we didn't say foul language as much, but because we were still trying to keep it, I don't want to say Christian, but just reasonable.
Decent. Just decent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just decent.
And then
Yeah.
the weekly thing, we were doing it weekly. It was a little tiring. It was a little exhausting.
Yeah. You were saying something about, I don't know if you said 3 age brackets, but I would say that we're 3 completely different personalities.
Yes.
And I think we all like supported one another in one area. And I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm gonna be really transparent. I'm like, Candy, ooh, girl, if you don't hush your face up right now. So DJ Silver Fox, help me, pray with me. And I know it had to be the same thing. Like you're like, DJ Silver Fox, she's getting on my nerves. But it was it was all 3 of us. But I think that's because we're all so passionate about it too.
Yeah.
And we all have
Exactly.
approaches.
Exactly. But then there was still the essence of respect for each one's, idea.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I like
really.
Each one of us brought something different to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which I
someone
think
might not have been as level-headed, than the other person would have, leveled it out,
Yeah,
or the other person would be like, be real.
Yeah. We learn from one another. And I think also we learned about one another. So we didn't just we learned about one another, and also I think there were topics of conversation or answers to questions that maybe our guests had approached, where we were able to see things in a different way than how we initially felt. It's like, okay, well, I can feel that. I understand that. But I agree with you, DJ Silver Fox. It was about respect, that level of you know what, we may not agree on this, but I definitely understand your perspective, and I respect that part of it, because a lot of the things that I remember getting really heated about wasn't really between us. It was with those male guests we had on the show. Which was actually
their opinionated,
which was actually a lot of fun though too. I think that's where a lot of the laughs and a lot of the passion came out, is when we had men on the show who were something else.
See, they didn't understand we were 3 women that were raising boys. Okay, so we understood their boyish,
Exactly. It's like, don't play with us.
You want to say that is ridiculous. I get on my son for that all the time.
Right. Right. Yeah, we didn't back down to that, but it was there. Those was probably some of my favorite moments is when
Yeah.
it was challenging like that because I don't think they knew what was gonna hit them because we're all coming from three different directions. Like you said, we're three different women. We have three different
Yeah.
perspectives. So we had one or two men in there who probably thought, "Oh, I got this," and they really didn't. So the others that wanted to come on, they had to think about it. Well, do I want to deal with these three here? Can I take
They
them on?
crazy. They
Yeah.
are cray.
Yeah, yeah. So but those are probably some of my best moments is when we
Yeah.
had the guys on, but also when we did the concerts, like people were they sang or exhibit their own talent. I thought those were some of my favorite moments too.
Right.
And
Right.
you know
Right.
what? I'm glad you said that because that was something I wanted to also again bring to light. Anytime that Candy Productions we put on an event, we made sure that we spotlight local talent, no matter if it was from being
Yeah.
an author,
Yeah.
a
Right.
singer, a dancer,
Right.
a
Right.
poet. We always made sure that we spotlight that local talent because we come from it's like being we were on side A before, now we're on side B, so we know what it is and the struggle it is here in Indianapolis to be seen or just just have that venue or have that platform. So
Mhm.
that was one of the things I like. And that young lady, and I probably am going to mess her name up, but in our first fashion show, the two girls, the two sisters, Marielle and
Right.
um, the sister,
Mhm.
they were 12 and 10 or something,
Mhm. Mhm.
young lady. And this is what's crazy because I look back again as we're going back. They were on our first fashion hair show as
Mhm.
one of our first local talents. And you see one of them on, was it American Idol? You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it was
She
just like,
was.
oh my gosh.
That was wonderful. It was. It was to see her on that. But and that was I think that was one of the things that you said, Candy. They are going to be famous one day.
Mhm.
When we
Yeah.
met them,
Hmm.
you
And,
said that.
that's what I still try to do to this day. I look at the talent. I try to find the talent and invest, whether it's my time or whatever it is, in that talent because I see something in them,
Mm-hmm.
their direction, their
Mm-hmm.
their goal, their
Mm-hmm.
seriousness about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so many coming in and out. It's like you have to be on your game. You have to be serious about what you do.
When I think about Nikki, so the designer, I won't say her last name, but the designer,
Mm-hmm.
and just again following her on social media, seeing that she's had a couple shows in Paris, and that is so beautiful to me. It's obviously she has her own shop. I forget where. I don't know if it's in Noblesville or
Mm-hmm.
what, but she
Yeah.
being
Noblesville.
able to show in Fashion Week in Paris and London and those places, and just really beautiful to see. But also, and I don't, it just popped out of my head. The male designer, the African.
Oh. Oh.
Shoot.
I know who you talk about.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It was just there.
Bernie.
Bernie, Bernie,
Yeah.
and also to see him on having his shows in Paris and London as well. As I just saw, he put something up the other day. The actor Adrian Brody was wearing like 4 or 5 different suits that he had custom made for him. He's on the front of some magazine,
Mm-hmm.
so they're all his designs, and it was just really really beautiful just to think about.
Well,
Okay, well, I knew you, yeah, when you're at the meet the artists at the fashion show,
I had
so
the opportunity, that same opportunity, because Chris in New York, he's done big things, but he coordinated like the last 3 or 4 fashion weeks in New York, and I was
wow.
Nikki was there, Couture, just different ones, and I was like, huh, we did y'all in Indianapolis.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
supposed to, and I said something to Fly Girl TW about this. I was supposed to actually go to Fashion Week this year. I
Hmm.
had the option to do February or September, and I chose
Hmm.
September. Or no, I chose February. But all
Hmm.
of that, whatever, but it was like, oh my gosh, these are the things as stemming from the Candy Productions event planning, that was such an opportunity to even be invited. And I was gonna go, but it was like, I had so much other stuff going on.
Right.
The memorable guest on the Candy Show, and I have to say, my most memorable guest turned out to be also a co-host of our second annual Hair and Fashion Show. Rest in peace, Elijah.
Right.
He brought so like the
Right.
his energy.
Yeah.
He just was there with us. And if he
Right.
wasn't there with us, he helped me
Right.
specifically elevate. And it was just so natural.
Right.
It was so natural.
Right.
Yeah, I
It
miss
was
him a
good to
lot.
see that you guys' friendship grew and that you were, still with him, and that was really great. But again, in memory of him, his talents were vast.
To
His
see
Yeah.
talents were
And I miss him a lot because through the years we kept in contact, just social media, or a couple times I think he was here and he would see me post. He's like, "So I'm in town. You want to hang out?" With just being sick, it's like I barely have enough energy to go up the stairs now. But I regret not taking one of those opportunities because he was always, that's someone you're gonna have a good time with just by having a conversation. And it's not just because he was loud and boisterous, but he's incredibly talented. I think he was working on his PhD or had earned it. So it just incredibly talented and cultured
Mhm.
and complex, all of that, and just really, really a wonderful human being. So
Right.
he's definitely missed.
and that's the thing about it, because he always, no matter what was going on with Candy Productions, excuse me, more so the Candy Show, he was always there for the Candy Show, past and present. He was always there. So the crazy thing about it, and you just said that, Fly Girl TW, was that weekend that I had seen him last weekend, the last year. He had told me that Saturday I was down there in Atlanta, and he was like, you know what? Anytime you come down to Atlanta, I got you. If you ever need anybody to record or anything audio visual, just let me know and I got you. So
Right.
it was crazy. It was just so crazy because I was like, and matter of fact, that Saturday, the day I did that, the day that we took that picture was the last day. Well, yeah, that was the last day I seen him because the video shoot or the next, either way it goes. Matter of fact, the crazy thing about it was that day we were all together in the park. That was the last day I seen him because I was supposed to have went to go see him later on that night, but didn't because I was just in tune with doing some other stuff. But it was so dope that he always, and every time I asked him, he was always down for the Candy Show, being a guest host, and his knowledge was so just, ooh, it was just way above my level.
Right.
Which was great because he also was able to educate you in a whole lot of things that you probably
Right.
wouldn't been able to talk about.
Right.
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 So that's why I want to just make sure that we remember him in that way, because the natural, this is such a natural for the Candy Show.
Right.
So